I'm RACER's Marshall Pruett. Fast Friday is finished as we use words that start with the letter F. What did we learn today? Well, the Ganassi cars fast again, both in a mild tow but also on their own. Other main thing that stood out today was, and they're not alone, thankfully, we have fast Team Penske cars. We have fast Andretti Autosport cars. Aaron McLaren's there. Ed Carpenter Racing is there. It's a lot of teams there or thereabouts. Now, so we're going to speak to Marcus Ericsson here shortly, as we discussed. We actually recorded that before this. This is one of the tightest, deepest lists of drivers who are really, really fast. This is going to be interesting. Normally, the last couple of years, we've come into qualifying on Saturday where the top 30 in the field are set and locked in and guaranteed. And you got to feel. You know there's going to be a handful of contenders, but not a bunch that are really going to extend beyond that fast 9, that fast 12. Feels like we could be 15, 18 deep of people who are really bad fast. So that part is super cool. So looking forward to see how things play out there. Conditions wise, things are supposed to be a little bit cooler. Could be raining here shortly. We definitely are feeling the temperature come down, a little bit of moisture in the air more than before. It was hot today at some points, cooler later. A lot of folks jumped up and put up impressive speeds later in the day, but then there are those who didn't. And this is where we're gonna spend the rest of our end of day video talking. We're gonna close on Callum Ilott and the Juncos Hollinger Racing team. But we're gonna start with Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. And I saw something today that I've seen it before, but it's something that happens every 5 or 10, 15 years. And that is a driver coming out onto pit lane during a session and laying on the ground next to their car, looking at it, trying to find imperfections, trying to see if there are imperfections that are causing the car to be slow. This is what we saw Graham Rahal do today. And unlike Wednesday, opening day of practice, where there was some promising pace from both Jack Harvey and Graham, not the case today. If I am any of the Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing drivers, I'm very concerned because the 4 of them were almost stacked all the way at the bottom of the speed charts. And as evidenced by Graham going out to not just ask if there's any things on the car that might be sticking out or causing drag, but Graham going out on his own, laying on the ground, feeling the seams of the bodywork, fitting the side pods, fitting to the floor, feeling the underwing, just got up and went to the other side and did that again. That's not a bad thing he's doing. That's just him being frustrated, wanting to see what he's feeling, if there's something there. When you see that happen, you know that things are not in the place that they should be. Things are not happy. And collectively, this Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing team is fighting their ass off to find speed. But it wasn't here during the open test. They tried to find it through all the off-track simulation items that they could, have come back, and at least right now, they're still not finding it. Here's an example. There's the Able Motorsports team that now has 3 days of experience with a rookie driver, never done the Indy 500, and is faster than them. Realize that I believe he got to go out a little later in the day when the conditions were better than the Rahal cars were last out, but nonetheless, you look at this kid, R.C. Enerson, and that has to be a glaring item to them that, wait, a team with 3 days of experience is ahead of us. I just feel so heavily for the RLL team, the engineers, the drivers. Gotta believe they're gonna be trying some pretty significant things tomorrow, not just sticking with what they have, but trying some real major changes to try and get speed out of their cars to make sure they're in the show, since we know one driver is going home. Another quick little item. On Wednesday, we saw a number of teams had blistering on their tires. That was a thing. Didn't really talk about it so much because admittedly, The track has no rubber on it. When the track is green, it's not uncommon for blistering to happen on the opening day of practice. Happens, again, somewhat regularly. Hasn't been a thing we've really heard of since, so just wanted to cover that off. Didn't mention it in any of the other end of day videos just because it's kind of not out of the norm, but for those who are wondering. We're going to close on Juncos Hollinger Racing. Spent time down in the garage speaking with Ricardo Juncos, co-owner with Brad Hollinger. They're in the midst of changing chassis for Callum Ilott, and we could probably talk for a half hour about this, but we'll keep this somewhat abbreviated. If you happen to see our Wednesday end of day video, I said just over turn 4, you can get to the Juncos Hollinger Racing shop. They're just right over, actually I'm totally wrong, it's turn 1. What am I talking about? Yeah, anyways, I'm from California, I don't know where I am. They're over there. Mentioned in that Wednesday video where Callum, having had an evil car to drive that was wandering all over the track unpredictably during the open test, trying to improve it, coming back, first day of practice, and it's barely any better. Mentioned they gotta go and get another chassis and start that swap process. For reasons that only they know, they didn't. Came back Thursday. Car was made a little bit better. As we saw on the chart, speed was a little bit improved, but again, we're talking about fractions of improvement on something that is very bad. Was thinking, okay, this is the clear time. It's gonna suck. Everyone's gonna be exhausted going into qualifying, but we have got to start this process. We're in true jeopardy of not making the race. They have to be changing the chassis Thursday night. Didn't. And so here we have a decision after running 7 laps today. Session started at 12. I believe they did 3 outings, only 7 laps. That in and of itself is explanatory of the problems they're still having. Decision was finally made to change the chassis. I can tell you, having been down in the garage, it's a tense place. I feel for them more than I do the RLL crew. They're all ahead of Callum right now. They're going to the chassis that Agustin Canapino used here at the open test and was quick, was fine, was good. So let's say everything works smoothly and perfectly. This Agustin chassis with Callum's motor is okay and he gets in the show. Fantastic. What about race running? They will have had almost no time to get in any real quality practice to get the chassis set up properly for the race. They're going to be behind no matter what, even if they make it in the show. Spoke with 2 drivers who happened to follow Callum yesterday, and in their own ways said, that's the bravest SOB I maybe have ever seen. The car said the car is understeering like mad into the corner, snap oversteer on the way out at 230 whatever miles per hour, corner after corner after corner. I think there's no question, and I watched and saw some of that myself. I think there's no question that this guy is driving his balls off. But that slow car syndrome that strikes at least one team, one entry per Indy 500, they're that team. From what I've seen and what other drivers have told me, the driver is giving their maximum. We're gonna wake up early, 8:30 a.m. practice session, 8:30 till 9, half the field. The other half goes from 9 till 9:30. We've got a 90-minute break. Qualifying starts at 11, goes till 6 p.m. The top 30 are locked in. The slowest 4 are carried over till Sunday in the last chance qualifying session. The fastest 12 carry over to Sunday, and we will then settle who gets locked in from 7th through 12th, who gets to carry on in the fast 6 and go for pole. But those who end up running 13th through 30th tomorrow, their day is done. They're locked in. That's where they're starting for the Indy 500. It's going to be a tense day, y'all, at the bottom of the field. I can tell you that I thought yesterday we kind of sort of had the 1 or 2 in the herd that looked like they might get picked off. there's 4 or 5 now where I am seriously wondering if they are going to be the ones who don't get to stay over and participate in the 107th Indianapolis 500. I'm Marshall Pruett. We don't have bone-locking Max Butler behind the camera today. We have the Nick Leo. Give us a thumb, give us something. A thumbs down, a Roman thumbs down. That means I'm gonna be killed. So apparently this is my last video, so it was fun talking to y'all. My life's over. Marcus Ericsson, if we look behind us, your number 8 is P4. So that means everything is perfect. Don't change a thing. Pole position, here we come tomorrow. All right, maybe I'm exaggerating a bit.
But you've been around a bit. You need to be P1 to be in pole position, not
Well,
P4.
All right. Yeah, I thought you were just trying to, you being the sneaky Swede, I thought you were trying to lull people into a false sense. But you were telling me that, hey, we have speed in the car, and if it was a 2-lap qualifying run, you'd be the happiest guy here, but you're one of many, and tell folks about this dynamic, you're one of many today. Quali sims had speed, 1 lap, 2 lap, 3rd or 4th lap, that delta of speed falls off. Tell us about that.
It was tough, but our first 2 runs in the heat of the day, we just couldn't, we did 2 laps really good, and then 3 and 4, I just couldn't do it. Like the car just was sliding too much, and I couldn't complete it, so that was a bit frustrating. Like, the car was fast, but we couldn't do 4 laps, and obviously here, that's everything. We need to be able to do 4 laps, so we had to sort of dig into the data a bit and think a bit and speak to my teammates, and we did some reasonably big changes here for the end and rolled out in the end of the day and did a really solid 4-lap run. I think it was P2 on the average speed, so that was nice. You know, it's always nice to go away after a long day and have a good feeling, so good job by the 8 crew there.
Let's talk about another aspect, and that was, hey, Chip Ganassi Racing is fast, Andretti Autosport is fast, Team Penske's fast, Aaron McLaren's fast, Ed Carpenter Racing's fast. Going into Saturday, it seems to me like this is one of the deepest fields of competition for speed we've had here in a little while. What do you see?
I fully agree. There's a lot of good teams out there and good drivers, and it seems like the whole field is just bunched up together. Like, you look at the speeds from like the top cars to like P20, and it's like nothing in it. So I think we're gonna see a really, really interesting day tomorrow. You need to get everything right in your balance and do those 4 laps. And you know, I think we could see some surprises as well. Someone really hooking up the balance and hooking up their run can be right up there, you know, and someone else from one of the top teams can, if they mess up a bit on the balance or their run, you know, you can be quite far back in the order. So it's gonna be an interesting weekend for sure.
2 other things for you, brother. You've won this race now. I'm not saying that makes you relax, but if you're quick tomorrow, but it doesn't feel like pole is gonna be right there, do you keep fighting and going back out and yanking your time and whatever to try and get P1 or nothing? Or do you say, hey, if I start 3rd, 6th, 9th, I know I can win this thing? What's your mindset?
I think our mindset's got to be there for Sunday. You know, we want to be in that fast 12 so we can fight for it on Sunday. And I feel like we should have 4 cars that's capable of that. But like we said, it's going to be close. We need to get everything right. We need to look at the data and videos tonight. But my mindset is to be, you know, I want to be on the first 3 rows for the race. I think you want to be in that front group when we start the race next Sunday. So we need to be ideal in the top 6 by the end of Sunday. But again, you have to take what you can get as well. You know, you can't put the car in the wall to try and get something that's not there. So let's see how the weekend plays out. It's going to be cooler tomorrow and Sunday. They might change things as well. So we'll see. But I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling good.
That's the last item to close here. So we're supposed to have conditions that don't change radically throughout the day, tomorrow at least. Tell me about that, because in theory, this qualifying draw that's about to happen, some people doing the draw, they're the kiss of death. You get the worst draw, but the worst draw could be one where the ambient temperatures change radically and yours falls in the worst time. It doesn't look like we're gonna have a huge change. Are you worried about the draw?
I gotta say, you know, I feel like the last 3 years I've had bad draws, but we've sort of figured it out anyway. And you know, you can't change it, right? You get the draw you get, and you just have to accept that. And then hopefully, like you say, the condition will be pretty stable. You know, it starts at 11, so I'm sure the first cars is gonna have a cooler conditions. But if we get rain overnight, like we most likely will get, the track might be a bit green for that first, you know, hour. So who knows what's going to happen. We just need to focus on ourselves and maximize our run.
That's what confidence looks like. This guy knows he can do it. I can't wait for tomorrow. And like you said, one of the things we heard the broadcasters mentioning today was, oh, their lap times were so close from first to fourth, and you go, great! But they were missing 3 miles an hour, so who cares about consistency? Who's going to be up there? It's going to be really close, but cannot wait to see. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you.